Welcome to the G&M Live Studio Series. My name is Sid Jacobs. I've been at the Musicians Institute for 30 years. Now I'm at the Swarnabhoomi Academy of Music, SAM in India. And I'll be heading up the Jazz Guitar Series here at the G&M channel. So I'm going to talk about some of the lines and harmonies that we find in the diminished scale. Now in the diminished scale, whatever we find in there, whatever chord we find, or any group of notes, we find 3 more times. So, for example, if we have a B flat chord, we also have a G chord, an E chord, and a D flat chord. Now, this is see, it creates a certain energy. For a dominant chord, let's say E seventh, I'm going to use E because I've got a low E to give me the pedal. If I'm thinking E seventh, the G major triad gives me a 5th, flat 7, and a sharp 9. The B flat major triad gives me the flat 9 and the flat 5. Now here I have a 13th. There's my 3rd and a flat 9. And then there's the root 3rd, 5th. Now the familiar E7 sharp 9 chord is right in the diminished scale. So I could take this shape here and also move it in minor thirds. And it gives me a similar energy. Now the scale, as I said in a previous video, is made up of a whole step and a half step, a whole step and a half step. So in the scale, if I was to move each of these up to the next scale step, this G, the G is going to go to G sharp, the D is going to move to E, and the B is going to move to C sharp. And then this C sharp minor is going to move to B flat, to E minor, gives me an interesting energy there too. Now I said in the previous video on the diminished, half step before each chord tone of the half step before each chord tone of the diminished 7th chord. Now if I was to descend doing it the same way, half step, I have that pattern as well. So now to find harmonies from this, because this is the shape 1 3 4 1 2 4 1 3 4 1 2 4. Now I'm talking about my fingers, not any chord tone. My 1st finger, my 3rd finger, 4th finger. So if I'm imagining a grid, 1 3 4 1 2 4 1 3 4 1 2 4. That is I have these notes. I have that note, I have that note, I have that note. I have all these notes, so I could mix and match the notes on the 4th string, on the 2nd string, and the 3rd string, and just find random voicings that exist here. This one has a minor triad on top, a major triad on the bottom. And of course, if I move it in minor thirds, or so let's say I was going to use this in the context of a B-flat 7th chord. Because the diminished 7th chord, just in case you didn't already know this, let's say I've got B, D, F, A-flat, or G-sharp. That's the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, and the flat 9th of a G dominant 7th, a B flat dominant 7th, a D flat dominant 7th, and an E dominant 7th. And they're interchangeable because they work in each of those contexts. So if the blues in B flat, here's my B flat, and here's a reference point. This is the 7th, the 3rd, the 13th, and the sharp 9. There's the root, the 13th, the 3rd, and the flat 9. This is the 13th with a flat 5. And I also have a flat 5 in there, so this is comfortable harmonies. Now, if I want to continue with the B flat blues, the next chord is an E flat 7th chord. Back to the B flat, then the G 7th, to the C 7th, to the F 7th, the 1, 6, 2, 5, and I've got a very stretched out, strange blues. Now, so we hear the context of the blues. Now, taking a pattern and moving it in minor thirds is also part of creating diminished style patterns. That's the classic bebop lick of the B flat 7th, root, chromatic to the flat 7th. And the same idea moved in minor thirds. The same thing down a half step, we're feeling the 4 chord, and then back to the 1. That's a B flat triad, a G triad. This is the first thing we talked about. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little video lesson. If you're interested in any more, please visit gandmguitars.com, and I look forward to seeing you there.